Ever wonder how to start a fitness studio from scratch? This week on our Instagram's FSO, we fixed, scaled, and optimized a boutique fitness studio facing problems with retention and low brand identity. There was no differentiating factor, same business, right? But here we're going to take that all the way back, rewind it to the beginning, and show you how we would start our own fitness studio from scratch. Today we're looking at a functional niche. We're going to tap the niche where we're doing something functional, where we touch all types of different courses and classes that are going to build our clientele's ability to be functional in their lifestyle, fast, powerful, good recovery, mobility, all of that. So let's look at it. We have four types of sessions. We have power, we have agility, we have mobility, and recovery. These are going to be classes that are going to be hosted throughout the day. We're going to try and tap into these. Let's look at supplies. So one thing to go before we look at supplies is we need to go on the fact that we are doing something different than our normal videos, right? This isn't like supply with variable costs, or we have to look at fixed costs and variable costs. Most of this stuff is not going to change day to day. If we bring someone in for a class, the only thing that'll change is labor costs, and if we're doing like a towel service or something, that'll be a cost. But other than that, we're really going to look at things that are more fixed and that may have to replace after 2, 3 years down the line. But this is something that's going to stay for a while. So it's a bit of a different approach than what we would do for our previous videos, where we'd look at a candle business, which is product based, and then we look at a bakery, which is product based as well. This is more service based, so we are looking more at those baseline costs that are going to be more fixed. Let's look at the equipment. So functional, it's pretty straightforward. We got kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, plates, all the heavy machinery that we would need to basically get the equipment that we would need to do our workouts, build more strength, build more functional ability, right? These are the prices breakdown for them. Then we look at supplies for mobility. Mobility is just making sure that we can move around, right? So we got resistance bands, jump ropes, medicine balls, battle ropes, basically getting the heart going, but being able to do more things with our body, right? These are the prices that we look at. Also, keep in mind that these numbers are higher than what you would order off of Amazon, because we're going to be getting sets of 10, sets of 20, right? So we can look at stability, for example. Our stability classes are going to be more on like pull-up bars, so we can have more shoulder strength, shoulder mobility, all that. Gymnastics rings, building that functional strength, and then plyo equipment, and then stability balls. These are basically going to be tools that we use in our stability classes that build more around our body's function to hold certain positions and do certain things that are going to be related to our normal life, like carrying a box or holding a curtain rod while you're putting up curtains or nailing up a frame, right? It's all things that are like related to life. But these are the prices of the equipments that are going to come in. Last but not least, we have additional equipments, which would be like slides, weighted vests, those additional pieces that kind of add that fun character to our gym, I would say. And then we have a sauna and a cold plunge. This is all part of recovery as well. So bringing that all together, we also have to look at setting up the space, right? So this is flooring costs, storage racks, installation and reno. We have a lease, which will be 10K a month. These are kind of all the prices together. I'm not saying them out loud. You can see them on the screen. It's going to be a total price that we look at the end, but this is just a picture for you to see what equipments we're buying and what they're related to. And then we can bring that all together to look at equipment plus renovation costs and all those additional add-ons. So we look at employees. I think honestly, you could run the whole thing by yourself, but that's going to be one hell of a journey. Let's say we hire two people on top of ourselves, right? Someone who does front desk, schedules the classes, gets the people to come in, reminds them to sign up for the classes on their app, all these sorts of things that we need. Even just like getting them to sign up on a sheet, coordinating all those things, we would have someone to do that. Then we have a trainer who can help run classes in parallel with us. Whether we're running a huge camp with like 60 people and we have someone who's watching half the class and we're watching the other half the class, or we run two classes at the same time, and then we can split the people going to whichever is going where. So like they can go to one class or the other. We can have two classes at the same time that both functional, or we can have a mobility and a functional class. Give some diversity, create more room for people to come in while also having more focus on the client, so we don't have a huge class of like 50 people for one person, right? We can kind of tone it down, add more variety. So if we look at the cost, initially our equipment is going to cost a total of 48,900. That's basically adding everything up. Our setup is going to cost 29,500. That's to get all the equipment in, a little bit of renovations, for adding the flooring down, all of that. And our rent is around $10,000 a month. Mind you, the rent is this high because, yeah, we're a gym. We're not going to be in a shopping mall like our previous video. This is going to be a larger space, right? 3,000 square feet, not too huge, but like a decent size. And then we're going to look at putting in different equipments, different spaces, different rooms, that was going to cost a bit more too. But that space, that electricity, all those bills are going to be quite burdensome because we have a larger space that we're working with. So 10K makes sense for the space that we're going to work with. Salaries total up to 8,500. You, the trainer, and like you, the other trainer, and then the person at the front desk, 8,500. Online presence, it's pretty much the same as a previous business. We're going to have Shopify, CapCut, ads. The idea is just get a website so people can look at our content on their website. And we have content creation, which comes through the editing tool, which makes it really easy to stay up with trendy stuff with CapCut. And then we have ads, which are just promoting our website. Obviously, you can use other tools. We can use Canva. We can use all that. But Canva's like $18 a month, so we just picked the cheapest option possible. These are our costs. Let's look at pricing. So our class fees are going to be $29.99 for a drop-in. You don't belong to our gym, you're not part of our community, you're new, you want to say, hey, what's this class like? Let me pay 20, 30 bucks, well, 30 bucks here to see what a class is like. As a member, you pay $199 a month, so 200 bucks. It's definitely more than your normal gym, but obviously this is going to include recovery. This is going to include use of the sauna, use of the pool, use of classes. This isn't just like an open gym where you go and do your workout. You're going to be coached by a trainer. They're going to be watching your progress. They're going to be keeping tabs on you. They're going to be giving you nutritional recommendations. You can ask them questions. So we kind of fit that into 200 bucks a month per person, including recovery and all that stuff. If you're trying to just go and use a sauna or the pool, it's a $50 drop-in fee, pretty straightforward. Mind you, our prices are going to be focusing more on members because it gets kind of complicated when you look at like how many classes we need to sell or how many like recovery drop-ins we need to sell, and trying to sell like, I think when we did the calculations, around 800 drop-in classes a month. Trying to like calculate how we've been able to sell 800 drop-in classes is kind of a moot point because your whole goal is to build a retention system, right? Which means members, building up members setup. So this is just a pricing structure so that it gives people space to kind of experience what the gym is, give them a little teaser trailer experience, and then they can go in to do the full membership so that they don't drop like 50 bucks every week just to go use the sauna or the pool. They can be like, hey, it's a nice place, I enjoyed it, I got to use it. We didn't lose anything out by letting them use it for free. Nice little trade-off. And then they're like, hey, this is pretty good. Let me go and sign up for a monthly fee. Okay. Then let's look at availability. So what our classes setup is going to look like. Well, we're going to do 10 classes per day. 5 classes by one trainer, 5 classes for the other trainer. It could be like hour-long classes, for example. And then we could fit in where like we have a little intro, warm-up, talk up to our like class members, give updates, let them tell us what they're looking at, if they have injuries or this or that we should be aware of. Just kind of that intro session for 10, 15 minutes, warm up, get in the exercise, and then cool down. We have a nice hour chunk, and we can do those 5 sessions a day for both of our trainers. We have 15 people per class max. This way, if you know what you're doing, you're good, put your head down, go work through the classes. If you kind of need some help, we can help a person. We can kind of have a buddy system going on. It's a good number where we're not losing track of what our clients are doing, and we're not having, but we're also able to kind of keep tabs and really like help them out through their process. And it's not a really busy kind of bulky class, right? It's like the gym split in 2, we got 30 people in the space, hour long, done, rotates out. Very simple. That keeps it nice. So let's assume we have 100 people a day, right? Our classes are completely full, and we have 100 people showing up that are new customers a day. Like, they're members obviously, but they're new as in like it's the first time showing up that day. And let's assume 25 people out of on top of that 100 show up twice. So that means you have 150 spaces in our classes completely filled. This is like complete fill out. All our classes are full, and 25%, 20 people of our membership come twice a day for 2 different classes. Because obviously we're going to run like functional in the morning and like recovery in the evening, for example. So they may want to come twice in that day. Most people probably won't do 2 a days, and most people won't have time to do 2 a day, so they'll kind of want to split it up. But we assume that every person visits 2 times per week, so we would have a total of 300 people coming per week. And let's say monthly we would have 350 subscribers coming in. They've subscribed for membership, and they are going to be coming in recurringly, and this is 50 people that were going to show up like twice a month, or like those kind of like change people were like, let me sign up and I'm really busy and I'll come for like once or twice or like once a week or something like that. Then you have the remaining 300 who are showing up 2 times a week, and then those extra change that are like showing up 4 times a week, 2 a day kind of thing, right? So we're just assuming that these are our numbers. Obviously, if those change, like you pay attention to what your clients are doing, they want to come 3-4 times a day, we can pay attention to that, see what we can do for our classes and stuff, see how we can tweak our like fees. For example, if they're like, hey, I'm like, have people coming in who are showing up for 3 classes a day, and that's not allowing you to bring in more members. Well, then we can bump up the membership price and give them more dedication, saying, hey, look, we're going to bump up the membership price, we're going to charge you more, but you get to come in more often, and we'll give you more attention because we'll shrink the classes a little bit. Those kind of things that we can make it worth their while, but also not hurt our business and our operations, right? So with this, we're just assuming we have a normal group of people. Some come more often, some come less often, but it's kind of this break even twice a week, right? And then let's look at the revenues. So with 350 people, let's look at the equipment first. The total equipment, everything set up, the rent, all that stuff throughout the year. So adding up all the rent for 12 months, building the equipment, renovating the whole space, all that costs $304,000 to get everything set up and ready for year one. Our break-even point would mean that every month we would need to have 127 people signed up to our membership. That would cost $200 a month. At this point, we are at complete flat, zero, no profit, but we're not at a loss. So this is our target, 127 plus. With capacity with some repeats, if we're hitting 350 like we talked about in the previous section, we're going to have a total revenue coming in of $840,000. So that's our kind of max. Obviously, if we want to scale that higher, we can hire more people, but we want to start at this kind of, our max will be 840 pull in, our break even would be 0 at 127. So we want to get above 127 and trying to hit as close to 350 as possible. So let's look at profits for year one. Our total cost is $204,000. Our max capacity will bring in $535,000 after after the expenses of the cost, right? So we had our $840,000, deduct the $300,000, end up with $535,000 with max capacity for year one. That's a pretty chunky, nice profit that we can take to pump into a whole new location, honestly, with the $304,000. And it's pretty nice because we're not spending so much on the produce or the goods like we had in our previous videos. This is a very clear, clean profit, and our target really is just put as much money of our profit into bringing more customers in to max out our operations. And then from there, we can see what we can do different about our days, expanding our hours, hosting more classes, all the different varieties that we can do. So we can look at year two, what happens. So assume that we keep the same cost of 304 and we say, hey, all that money that went towards setting up the gym and all that, we put towards hiring new trainers. Now our salary expense goes from $8,500 up to $15,000, but we get 2 more trainers, which means you can host more classes. So assume that our capacity is able to triple now, because instead of having 2 trainers, we have more trainers coming in, and we have a total of like 20 classes. And plus, because we can add some variance in our day, we can assume that we can bring up to 1,000 people now, right? Because at 350 we were able to do with 2. Now we have a bit more variance in our day, we can expand our classes, we can do a lot more. So let's assume our max out is like 1,000 people. This includes our, like, let's say 800 core who keep showing up and 200 who show up once or twice a month, right? That variance there. So we have 1,000 people, which brings in $2.4 million, which gives us a total profit of $2 million. Huge difference now if we take that and add it to the next year. This way we can keep expanding so quickly with this, because honestly the expense just goes into getting the place set up, and then the rest is the time expense, honestly, time and energy. We're just getting our employees working, our trainers working with us, we're getting our customers engaged, excited about working out, keeping them coming back. At that point, it's really just about selling the experience of being in our gym. It's not much about the profit. So you can see the difference between a business where we'd have to focus on, okay, if we change our expenses for building the product or baking the product versus how much we charge the customers, it's going to do this to our business. Whereas here, it's like, yeah, we could buy cheaper equipment, but the whole point is really focusing on getting the customers in the door and working out with us. Where the other one was, okay, we can have an average, we can have a base, we can have a certain number that we focus on, and that can change, or that can stay the same, and we can increase or decrease our charging fees for those customers and change our business structure and our revenues that way. Whereas here, it's like, even if we save like 100K on equipment, we still have to focus on bringing in a certain amount of people, even if that drops down to 50, keeping them engaged, keeping them coming back for the year. It's a completely different type of business approach, but obviously there's crossovers, but you're more on sales, you're more on engagement, you're more on nurturing your clients. Anyways, let's look at what would happen with the marketing side. So because everything here is bringing in clients, keeping them engaged, keeping them on their toes with our training, keeping them all up to date. We want to focus a lot of our energy in that marketing and keeping a brand around our business. So the website is very simple. We just have a class description explaining what's going on. We have a payment processor built into our Shopify, right? So we can make signing up for classes super easy. You want to sign up, you just click a couple buttons, put in your credit card, done. You have questions, set up a meeting for us. That comes to the front desk person, whoever it is, and then they can handle that, and then drop in classes. I mean, like 2 clicks. We want to make it very, very easy, where it's like you see the thing, you're like, hey, I want to do this class. It looks super engaging. There's a little video, and then it's like, just click this, put your name and put your credit card in, show up on this date, done. Set your schedule, and then it's very easy for them to show up. No craziness. Prices are clear. Everything's evident. That's what we want to do on our website. So it's very low barrier to entry. They just have to say yes. Social media branding is very similar to the other ones, but this time we need to focus a lot of energy on building out our identity with the trainers, because it's classes. You're not just going in and putting your head down and working out. You're going to be coached by someone, and that person can be like a drill sergeant, and you love that. But someone else can be like, I really just want to be like spoken to normally. So a drill sergeant's not a good trainer. So you want that trainer's identity and your identity to be shared on your socials, so people can go on your socials and be like, oh, this guy's super friendly, this guy's super exciting, this guy's super pumped, this guy's super hard on his class members. And I like that. I like that for this. And we kind of build a niche around the identity as well. So they're looking for that specific type of trainer. They know what they're getting before they even sign up. And then some people could just be like, hey, this is a really cool idea behind it. I'll travel an extra half an hour to go to my gym instead of 10 minutes. Or I don't mind driving across town and go to this gym because they're really going to give me a good workout. I believe in what they're doing. You kind of give an identity behind the gym. That's really huge on socials, and kind of shows what people are going to get just by sharing the classes, sharing the performances, sharing the progress, all of that on socials. It's a huge, huge selling point now. Very different than what we had with the business of the bakery or the candle shop, because yeah, it's personality, it keeps people connected. But this is like, they're not going to really care who you are once you get the candle. They'll only care if it's like good for like the people that you're employing, or if it's like there's a good like values and morals behind the person selling the candles, but if or like baking the goods. But then it doesn't really affect them if they have the cake. If the cake is good, the candle smells good, it's not the end of the world. Here it's like, you're using the product or the service in this circumstance, you're going to want to know like how good the training is going to be, how good the coach is going to be. So that's very important in this case. Other selling points, we can do like referral programs, private events. We can host like mini boot camps, for example, where it's like a brand wants to expand into our space, and we say, hey, come have your people come work out at our space, bring your logos, bring your thing, we'll bring a DJ, we'll have some fun, we'll host the workouts, no problems. We can do member milestone parties where it's like, okay, you've been a member with us and your goal was to hit 60 pounds, like lose 60 pounds in 3 months, for example, and you got like so close, let's celebrate that. Or you hit your target, let's celebrate that. Or like kind of keep people engaged, where it's like, they feel that recognition. It's not just like, oh, they're hoping that someone's going to notice on the street, or their friend's going to be like, oh, did you lose weight, or oh, did you like gain some muscle. No, it's like your gym is going to make you feel like, oh yeah, you did a great job, kind of like you're back in school and you're just receiving an award for getting great grades or something. But this time, I mean, you're an adult and it's just popping off. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's member parties and milestones, keep people engaged. And then wellness company collaborations, like I mentioned, it's like if they're selling for example, health conscious foods like smoothies, for example. Say, hey, come bring your smoothies here. We'll do a little workout with your employees if you want. We can do a workout with like customers. We'll sell their smoothies. We'll have a kind of collaboration, or come to our gym and we'll host this thing with your brand. And because you're building a social identity as well, even if people aren't coming to your gym because of your social identity or your social media, and you just have a very large following because they like your crazy content because it's super fun, that alone brings a whole new selling point, where it's like, you can come to the gym, you can post their content or their product on your social medias, you can post your classes. It's just a sharing on both sides, so they can bring more spotlight onto your gym, onto your brand, as well as you can bring spotlight onto their brand, and you have more leverage other than just the people in the community. So you don't just have to rely on the fact that, oh, you only have like 1,000 people at your gym, but the closest chain competitor has like 1 million people signed up across the 2 states that you're near, or across the 3 provinces, or whatever it may be. Now you can be like, hey, I have 1,000 people, but my socials are huge. My this is huge. My reach with these people are huge. People are lining out the door to try and sign up for our yearly new sign up when we expand, or this or that. And especially, this kind of creates more room for us to build larger locations expand in regions, build more gyms, especially with the revenue. I mean, 500K coming in and it only costs us 300 to set up. We're already at a profit. Even if we hit break even, we still have 200K left over from our original gym. So much room to expand. It's a very nice picture. So with that being said, kept it very short, very simple, but you got to see the perspective of what it's like when you set up a gym, what the money looks like, what the revenue looks like, what the setups are involved, how a different lens of perspective you should apply on setting up a gym versus setting up a product-based business, service versus product, how different everything is, what the experience is like. It's really like changes your complete approach onto how you're going to focus on building your business out. It's not just about the expenses, it's also about the sales, right? One is more sales, one is less sales, one is more expenses, one is fixed expenses. One gives you a different profit revenue, one gives you different ideas on how you can really partner up with other businesses and grow, and the different scalability, right? Like obviously with the restaurant, like you can completely scale and be pulling in like $1 million a year, but it's a different approach completely to make that pure profit versus like $1 million revenue, but you're only pulling in 200K profit. Where here it's like your expenses up front, the rest is your job is to just get people engaged and have them show up and give them a really good experience so they just keep coming back. So a whole different picture, whole different lens. With that being said, thank you for watching. Comment your thoughts, like and subscribe for more. We have more coming, and especially it's going to be really exciting to see how we rebrand or build the brand for this gym because we have such a free reign. So I'm excited for you to see that. Have a good day.